to Marcus, and
Step out.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to Marcus.
Now get the fuck off my expo chef now!
I've been meaning to talk about The Bear for a while now. I'm not typically someone who gravitates towards TV shows, but there's something about the series that's been able to capture and keep my interest through the years and the seasons.
Shit, well, never mind.
And I'm clearly not the only one that thinks that.
The Emmy goes to... The Bear!
Numerous other successful shows have made their mark on pop culture, so it isn't unique in that regard. But what is, though, is its care for going beyond the story and its characters.
You're the most excellent CDC at the most excellent restaurant in the entire United States of America. What are you doing here, I guess?
Making sandwiches.
If you've seen other shows, which I'm sure you have, most of them have this one common thread. To find what that is, let's take a look at this iconic scene from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I ain't need him then and I don't need him now.
Will.
Nah, you know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna get a great job without him. I'm gonna marry me a beautiful honey, and I'm having me a whole bunch of kids. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids. How come he don't want me, man?
This single scene shows one of the key elements of a show's staying power, and that's the ability to handle story beats and topics across different genres. In other words, the idea that comedies make the best dramas, and dramas make the best comedies. Take almost any popular show, and usually one of the most talked about or impactful scenes are ones that subvert the show's genre. It's a card that TV shows have played through the peak of 90s sitcom television, all the way to award-winning dramas of the streaming age. But what separates The Bear from many of these shows is that it doesn't use it as a tool. Rather, that idea is in the very fabric of the show and is placed in the forefront in every episode. It's hot or cold, fast or slow, aggressive or calm, and dramatic or comedic. While The Bear is and has been listed as a comedy ever since its release, its placement when it comes to awards has been increasingly gaining debate among people within the industry. I don't think that dilemma is something that Christopher Storer wanted, but that genreless feeling is something that he's always intended, not only for the story, but the show as a whole. It's why the castings of both Jeremy Allen White and Ayo Edebiri were crucial for the show's DNA, with the majority of Jeremy's recent work being comprised of dramas and Ayo's being more comedic-centric.
Why are food shows so hard? And I thought that was a really smart question from FX's point of view. And I started talking to a lot of my chef friends. My sister is a chef. Maddie's one of my best friends. And I was sort of like, how do you guys, what do you think is sort of missing when they try to do these things? And it was sort of uniformly, the answer was no one focuses on how hard it is and the anxiety in it, in sort of the pain and the loss of time in it. And it's ultimately very rewarding and there's beautiful things about it too, but it is a really difficult, tricky job.
Having both of them carry the show creates a fascinating mix of different emotions on screen, such as the art of cooking in general, harboring the show's story in its very own structure. It's almost like making the system of The Bear the message of the show.
Today was not the day to go fucking with the system.
System, cousin.
Hey, I don't care. I do not care what you do up in Napa with your fucking tweezers and your foie gras. You got no fucking idea what you're doing here.
This doesn't put less importance on the plot though. It actually helps both its story and structure. And this idea of a show being comprised of actors with different backgrounds goes beyond its leads, where some are at the very start of their careers and others seeing the restaurant as a last resort.
I'm afraid one day I'm gonna wake up and you guys are all just gonna just drop this ass.
Richie, I'm not gonna drop this ass.
And even though they're supporting characters, they're just as important as Carmi or Sydney. It's what the second season of the show does very well. Not only has it expanded on the ideas and structure it created in season 1, but it's also given multiple characters their own storylines, and in some cases, their own episodes. From giving one for Marcus to work on his skills in Copenhagen, to giving an episode to Richie to find his true purpose. And it even goes beyond by giving each episode its own distinct flavor. Marcus's episode has a more laid-back and warm atmosphere, and Richie's episode has a more intense and cold-cut energy.
What's up, dude? Pick up for Richard.
It doesn't only elevate the supporting characters, but also the show as a whole. These character developments also eventually come back to serve the purpose of its season finale. These shifts in the approach to the episodes really shouldn't work, but the mixing of different styles actually works in the show's favor.
Like a movie we thought about a lot in the making of this that I really just thought about like tonally and was weirdly like Terms of Endearment is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I know that sounds like crazy, but the like when you look at Terms of Endearment and a lot of stuff that James L. Brooks did, man, it goes from funny to screaming at each other and then back to calm, and he was really wonderful at putting a lot of people in the same spaces. And I think I missed that in film and TV a lot because I think things feel very meditative, and that's really cool. I love a lot of those shows, truly, where you're like, man, this is like a slow burn and I love it. But I was like, man, it'd be cool to make something that was kind of like maybe annoying. You know what I mean? Like maybe obnoxious.
No matter the number of style changes, each episode progresses the story and further peels the layers back on its characters. And even with its more experimental second season, it isn't afraid to tap into the nucleus of what made the first season what it was, which is the fast-paced, blood-boiled editing that crashes to the quiet and more intimate moments for levity. It's why I think Fishes is the best episode of the entire series, and maybe one of the greatest episodes in the history of television. It's the show's core philosophy dialed up to 11, everything that makes The Bear what it is, and makes it one of the most captivating shows right now. From the melting pot of actors, some of which are drama actors and others are comedy actors, to the erratic pacing changes throughout the hour-long episode, with some scenes being incredibly intense and others being the most calming of the entire series. And that's the thing. The Bear is whatever it wants to be, whether to your expectations or not. It could be aggressive, or it could be passive. It can be sincere, or it could be disingenuous. It could be dramatic, or it could be comedic. It's that sense of not really knowing what's next that makes The Bear's story so captivating. Not really knowing how someone's going to react or why they're reacting that way. And that unpredictability is what makes The Bear television's own pressure cooker.
Bears. And did you know that bears are kind and sensitive and devoted and also altruistic and empathetic and very commonly known to be adept at grieving?
Is this true?